bro.
Yeah. As an attendee, you're just a ticket sale.
Do you feel like conventions have been changing? Do you feel like they're going to be evolving in the future?
If anybody who is a vendor for this stuff, step it up, dude. Don't just JPEG off the internet.
I'm here with an event manager. His name is Hugo, like myself. I thought that was a huge trip. There's a more trips that comes along with it. And on Instagram, you go as Ghoulzbyxanime. So Ghoulzby, one thing that I'm going to start doing when I do interviews, I like to get to know people. So I want to ask you, man, what is your top 3 favorite animes of all time?
For my all-time favorite, say Bleach. My number 2, Full Metal Alchemist in general. Me personally, I don't differentiate between the OG Full Metal Alchemist and Brotherhood. I'm just like, yeah, it's all Full Metal Alchemist, you know? Third favorite has to be Konosuba.
I want to ask you, who is your number 1 husbando or waifu?
My waifu is Aqua, the goddess Aqua from Konosuba. Just yes, yes, the pop-up, yes.
You already know, bro. It's like I saw her, I was like, you know what, I gotta grab. But that's cool. Did you want to say your husbando too, or?
Yeah, so my husbando actually, his shrine is in the room. The camera over.
Behind the scenes, guys. We get to see some behind the scenes.
It's actually Geto Suguru from
JJK, right?
JJK, yeah.
All right, let's go on to more serious questions. How did you get to becoming an event manager, man?
So I had been thinking about becoming a vendor at one point. I was just kind of like, what should I do? Stickers, everyone does stickers. T-shirts, there's been more people selling T-shirts. I'll be real, on the T-shirts and the stickers thing, it's all too samey. If anybody who is a vendor for this stuff, step it up, dude. Don't just JPEG off the internet, print it off a sticker press, or slap it on a T-shirt. Actually put some effort into it, dude. Back to the topic at hand. Around the time that I was playing Genshin, Pop Umai actually teamed up with Little Eastern Cafe in Eastvale. And I was like, you know what? Let me go check it out. So I went, got some food. Didn't really get to talk to anybody there because I'm actually a pretty introverted guy. After that, they did another Genshin event at Rodeo X. And then she posted up like, hey, we need help with our event. And I was like, you know what? I'll see what I could do. And she actually had me be a handler for Sean Chiplock, voice of Rivali in Breath of the Wild, Mista in JoJo Part 5. Being a handler was pretty cool. He didn't want to take a break, so we never took a break until she forced us to, which I was very thankful for. But there was just a lot of people running back and forth, like, where's this? Where's that? Oh my God, Rocio didn't tell us this. And I'm just sitting there like, they need some help with the event stuff. And the next time that I went to help them out was actually at EXP Barcadia. Again, I saw a lot of the same things where volunteers were like, hey, I was told there's a green room. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, green room's like over in this direction. And after the event, I talked to Rocio like, hey, do you need help with like establishing rules and stuff for people? And she was like, actually, I very much do, because I'm all over the place, and you know, there's so many moving parts that I would like some help. And I'm like, all right, cool, well, if you're okay with it, I would like to step up to help out with that. And yeah, I really did it just because I kind of noticed that there was a lot of stuff that she needed help with.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was pretty much like you didn't find the role found you kind of thing. So one thing that another question I wanted to ask you is, do you feel like conventions have been changing? Do you feel like they're going to be evolving in the future?
I feel like they have gotten a lot bigger, especially in the last 5 years since the shutdown happened and a lot of more people started to watch anime. I worked at Anime Expo 2024. My first ever Anime Expo was 2013. Second ever was 2016. In just those 3 years of distance, there was already a lot of change. You know, 2013 was still there were still people with yaoi paddles and stuff like that. There was still a lot of like glomping, and if you were in cosplay, people were just running up and touching you and like hugging you and stuff like that because they like your character. It was the Wild West of Anime Expo still. I feel like they're making their scales bigger to try to fit more people. But at the end of it, as an attendee, you're just a ticket sale, right? just because, again, like even with Pop Umai, right? As much as we'd like to be like, hey, we're taking care of you, we can't. There's just way too much going on.
Let's move on to the next question. Something you wish people knew more about people running these events or managing these events.
So I would say it's like the social aspect of it, right? I know that sometimes, especially at Pop My events, because obviously that's where I've got my experience. People will stop me and ask me a question. Like I'm in the middle of going from point A to point B, so I'll like try to respond as quickly as I can, and then they're still trying to figure out what they want to ask me. So I'll kind of be like, I'm so sorry. I'll come back. I'll find you. I promise, and I'll leave, and then I'll hear from the information booth that this person walked up, was like, hey, I asked the big dude, the longish hair, a question, and he just kind of walked away from me. And it's just like, I told them I'd come back, right? I would like for people to understand that it's not that I'm or anybody in a leadership role or working the staff at the event in general is ignoring you. It's just, again, like I've mentioned before, there's so many moving parts that for me to stop and wait for, not like, again, not to be rude or nothing, but like wait for you to like process your question and then ask it, I have to get somewhere because someone just passed out from dehydration. So there's a lot of different things going on, and it's not that we're trying to ignore you or whatever, but like, if the place has an information booth, that's probably the best place to just go ask your question.
I asked my fellow followers, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
is there anything you guys would want to ask you? And yeah, we have a couple questions. I'm going to butcher all these names, but I'll try my best. Hysteric Inksta asks, how do you get funding for events and how do you even start one as a beginner?
The funding for the event, like again, I'm just a manager, so I didn't really have any say in any of that. And in starting an event, I would say do not try to do Anime Expo on your first go. I would say start your event as a cup sleeve. You could find a place to team up with, do the cup sleeve, start very small, do a collaboration. It helps if you already have an established brand. So Pop Umai was selling cookies before she decided, hey, I'd like to do this one particular kind of event, which was the Genshin event, right?
Start small and then move your way up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Chico Del Apartment 152 512 asks, how do you market an event if you have zero photos for marketing?
Well, if you have a theme, like if I were to do a Kaiju number 8 event, right? I have no pictures of a prior event. I'm assuming that's what he means. Chico del Apartamento 1512. I see you. I see you. Gotta hit that beady beady bum bum. Nah. But Photoshop's a thing. Do not use AI. Please do not use AI to do stuff like that.
That's a good way to get people to not want to go to your event.
Yeah. I mean, doesn't exactly have to be pictures of a previous event.
Sometimes you could just hire people on Fiverr too. That's kind of what I do
Yeah.
for some of the stuff that I can't draw, but I do commission other people to do it for me.
I mean, through the events, I've met so many great artists that are like, hey, if you ever want to do something, let me know.
And then moving on to the next question, Synth 117 asks, was there something that you wanted to implement into events that would have been helpful but wasn't approved?
I can't really think of anything that I was like, oh, I want to do this, other than like themes for events that we just couldn't do because of copyrights and stuff like that, and how much it would cost to do. So that's pretty much it, really.
All right, let's see. Abe Lithia and Beanut 72. Beanut? That's a chip, funny name. Asks, how do you snag a venue and is it hard to acquire one?
The venue thing, again, that's like something that was over my pay grade. But from what I understand of it, is you have to strike up a deal with a venue, whether it be a boba shop for a cup sleeve or an event center for like a fan meetup. The Ghetto Suguru look-alike thing that they did in New York is a good example. They did that just to do it, but there were so many people that came out that the city had to step in, like, hey, there's too many people here, disperse. Had they gone to the city like, hey, we would like to use this park for this and that, and it'll bring this many people. Maybe they could have gotten away with it. They could have had it be more officiated and stuff like that. And then I know that after that there was the Timothy Chalamet lookalike contest and a whole bunch of other lookalike contests that happened just because, and a lot of people ended up getting in trouble for that.
Lower asks, what goes into
Roller.
consideration before selecting performers?
So I personally never had to pick performers, but from talking to the people who did, it's mostly like, can you show us things you've done in the past that people showed up for? If you have done performances, like I know that there's people who at their events, they're like, oh, you want to do a performance? Stage is right there, homie. Could record that. If you killed it and you got that really good crowd reaction, you post that to your Instagram. You want to like have that link, send it to whoever you're applying with, like, hey, I'd like to be a performer for XYZ. If they're like, all right, so the performance you did fits the vibe of what we're trying to do, we'll move forward with that. On the subject of performers, I'd like to just give a quick shout out Nicole and Scotty, who performed at Summer Mayhem this past Saturday. Hell, all of the performers we had, I've befriended them, and they are just, I feel that there's a lot of potential with them, as well as a lot of other performers.
Going on to another question. SoCal Nerd asks, why are events and cons getting more expensive?
Simple answer, corporate greed. uh, so there's events that are for profit and events that are non-profit, right? You pay for what you get, right? So if you're paying a lot of money, you get to do a lot more things. The more free events, like the cup sleeves, for the most part, you're like getting boba, hanging out with friends, and then you go home. But Anime Expo, you're there for 4 days, getting to do a lot more stuff there.
I think that's all the community questions that we had. But to move on to the fun questions, if you had a blank check and you didn't have any limitations, what are 3 things that you would have wanted to add it to the events that you've managed previously before?
Anime Riverside, it wasn't last year. I think it was the year before, 2023. They had anime cosplay wrestling. I don't know if you went to that. I'm a huge wrestling fan. So any way that I could blend 2 things that I like, I would love to do it. Other than that, I'd probably just do a Bleach event where I'm going to have all 10 Espada plus Aizen, Gin, and Tosin voice actors. That's a dream for me right there.
And then I wanted to ask, were there any funny incidents, anything crazy that happened while you were managing an event?
I don't know if anybody remembers, or even if you had visited us at that point, the Dragon Dancers last year. I remember they had done the performance, and then I saw a bunch of people like running into one of our green rooms, and I'm like, "What's going on?" It's like, "Oh, one of the dancers is about to pass out from dehydration." And I'm like, "Huh?"
Huh?
Yeah, get them all the water that they need, get them some Gatorade, get them some electrolytes and stuff like that. And that's probably as crazy as it got.
I think someone actually asked me this too. Have you had to actually kick anyone out before?
I don't know. I don't know if it was Hoyo. No, it was the night at the tavern for last year, around Mother's Day, that we had a possibly homeless guy walking around the vendor area and stealing stickers, shirts, anything he could get his grubby little hands on. He'd grab it and take off. And
That's
there were
crazy.
several.
Did you just grab it off
Yeah,
the stalls, or
yeah, he would walk up to the booth and just grab something and leave. And I had gotten several reports about him. I couldn't find him because he would grab something, and when someone was like, "Hey, you're stealing," he'd take off and like a fart in the wind, disappear.
I
And,
haven't heard that
and
before.
hell yeah, I'm full of them, bro. I remember I had caught up to him at one point, and because one of my volunteers, and shout out to Chris, he was actually like, "Hey, I got the guy, he's right here." And I was like, "Oh snap, let me go get him." And I walked up and I was like, well, obviously I haven't seen him do anything yet, so let me just kind of follow behind him and see what he does. And I saw him walk up to a vendor, go up to their little display of stickers, grab a handful and put them in his pockets. And I'm like, "Hey man, you can't do that." And he's just like, "Oh." I was like, "All right, you need to come with me. I've been hearing about you stealing this whole time." So Chris and I actually intimidated him all the way across the parking lot, all the way across the train tracks, and he just didn't come back. And then once we got back to the venue, that's when the city security people showed up and they're like, "Hey, where'd he go?" We're like, "Oh, we just chased him across the train tracks. We don't think he's coming back." It's like, "Hey, that's dangerous. Don't do it ever again." And it's like, "I'll fight, bro."
I'll fight for
Like
my vendors.
these. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, dude, I don't care. Like, but our vendors all work hard to make these designs for people, get these stickers printed, get their stuff made in order to bring it to the events and then share it with all of you guys, sell it to all of you guys. For them to lose money on stuff that they spent money on to get, I don't think that's right.
And then to close it up or wrap it up, as they say,
Mhm.
do you have any future goals in the future? Maybe get back in to managing, because I know you said you were not managing for the time being, or
Yeah, so I've actually had to step down being operations manager, and that's not why we're doing this. It's just this is we finally got around to doing this. I know for the last three events we've been like, "Hey, if you show up, we're doing an interview, or I'll walk you around and talk to you about the process and stuff." But I actually had Summer Mayhem was my last event with Pop Umai, possibly for now. It's just my life is kind of off the tracks and I need to like reground myself, set something up for myself because there's a lot of things going on that I need to like get a hold of, grab life by the horns and like really rein it in. I know that I'm still gonna be around the Popumai stuff. I might even be able to visit the event. I don't know if I'd be able to work, but definitely visit.
is there any advice that you would give to someone who wants to become an event manager?
The only thing I would say is be ready for all the stuff that comes with it. I was fully expecting to be as busy as I was. It's not going to be as easy as you show up to an event. People are going to be like, "Oh, well, I'm at the event, I'm staff, I get privileges, I get to jump lines." And they'll get up from where you have them posted and go do stuff. Just remember to not be angry. Remember to watch how you speak to people. I know for me, obviously, I swear a lot and apparently come off as if I'm either complaining or angry whenever I talk to people. So I've had to manage how I speak. My number one thing is a John Cena quote, right? Don't just talk about it, be about it. If there's something you want to see done, be the person who does it. If you want to make sure people are doing what they need to be doing, then, show them how to do it. Lead the way. Be a leader, not a boss.
Exactly, exactly. Is there anything you'd like to add before we conclude the video?
The last thing I want to say is just in general. I hope that I stick to this myself, but if there, as far as future goals go, you can achieve what you want to achieve, right? At the moment, it feels like you're going through so much and life sucks, but compare where you are now to where you were a year ago and sees the differences in it. Like for myself, about 2 years ago, I lost my car. I didn't have a job, no money in the bank and stuff like that. So now I'm here. I have money in the bank. I have a job. I have a car. Do I still need more money? Yes. But am I in a worse situation or a better situation? Comparatively, I'm in a better situation. It's just those trials and tribulations will come. Life is all ups and downs. You just got to remember that the journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. And as long as you are willing to take that first step, hey, take that second step, take that third step, take that fourth. You will get to your goal after you put in that work.
That came out really good.
I'm definitely down to chat again. If we ever run into each other at a con, obviously say hi. Even to you, viewer, if you see me at a con, I'm not against saying hi to people. I might be a little bit like, "Oh, hey, how's it going?" But again, that's like we were saying earlier. It's like we're a little awkward when you meet us, but for the most part, we're just trying to vibe.